The sky was clear, blue, bright, and peaceful. People walked the streets, checked their phones, laughed with friends. No one knew what was coming. Then the shadows came. 1, 2, 10, 20. Dark ships appeared above the clouds, silent, huge, and without warning. They covered the sun. They looked like black stones floating in the sky. People stopped walking. Cars stopped moving. News spread fast. Aliens, someone whispered. Are they friendly? Another asked. No answer came. The ships just waited in the sky, watching. In space, the alien commander stood on the bridge of his warship. He was tall, with gray skin and cold yellow eyes. His name was Syrax, leader of the Zorak Empire. He looked at Earth and smiled. Look at this place, he said to his officers. Green, blue, full of life, and soft creatures. Humans, an officer replied. Weak, slow, divided. Syrax nodded. Easy to conquer. They don't even know how to fight real war. He turned to his second in command. Send a scout team. Learn more. We take this planet soon. The scout team landed at night. Small black ships touched down in the forests, deserts, and oceans. The aliens moved fast. They wore dark armor. Their eyes glowed red. They scanned everything. Buildings, roads, animals, people. What strange cities, one alien said. No walls, no defenses, primitive weapons, old tech. Another added, these humans are nothing. But not everything was quiet. One scout team disappeared in a jungle. Another went silent near the ocean. The third lost contact in a mountain cave. What happened? Syrax asked. Find them. The search began. Drones flew. Ships scanned. Still, no answers. Then a single drone sent back a video. It was broken. Static filled the screen. But a shape could be seen. Tall, fast, and not human. The video ended with one word from the scout. Run. Syrax frowned. Maybe Earth is not as weak as we thought. A science officer stepped forward. Commander, we found strange signs. Forests with no sound. No birds, no insects. Deep oceans with heat under the water. Ice caves with claw marks. Something else lies here. Syrax growled. What kind of creature? We don't know. But something ancient. Something dangerous. Another officer laughed. Maybe humans keep pets. But that night, one of the small alien bases went silent. No calls. No alarms. Just silence. A rescue team was sent. They found the base destroyed. Walls torn. Blood on the ground. No bodies. Only pieces. Weapons were untouched. It looked like the soldiers didn't even have time to fight. On the wall, a message was written in red. You should not have come. Panic spread on the alien ship. Officers shouted. Soldiers readied weapons. Syrax remained calm. Maybe this is human fear trick. Maybe they use fear to protect their world. But deep inside, he wasn't sure anymore. He ordered another landing team. This one was large. More soldiers, more weapons. They landed near a quiet forest. Thick trees. No sound. Not even wind. As they moved, strange things happened. Equipment stopped working. Lights blinked. One soldier vanished while walking just 10 steps ahead. They found his helmet. Crushed. Still warm. Then they heard it. A growl. Deep. Close. The team turned in all directions. Guns ready. Eyes wide. Nothing. Then it moved. A blur of shadow jumped from a tree. It took one soldier. Then another. Screams. Blaster fire. Red eyes in the dark. The commander of the team shouted into the radio. We were wrong. This planet is not empty. This planet hides monsters. Real ones. Then the radio went silent. Back on the ship, Syrax stared at the screen. The last message from the landing team repeated again and again. This planet hides monsters. He stood up. For the first time, he felt cold. Commander, an officer whispered, should we leave? Xerax looked at Earth. So quiet. So calm. No, he said. We are the Zorak Empire. We don't run from shadows. But deep inside, something told him. This was not a normal world. This was not a weak planet. This was a trap. The alien commander Xerax stood on the bridge of his ship. His golden eyes stared at the blue planet below. Earth looked peaceful, but he knew now it was a lie. 3 scout teams were gone. 1 base destroyed. Soldiers missing. Strange creatures seen in shadows. Still, Xerax would not back down. Enough games, he said. Send the full strike force. We will crush this world and find the truth. In the early morning, the skies over Earth turned dark again. Alien ships flew lower. Hundreds of black drop pods fell from the clouds like rain. They hit the ground hard. Smoke, fire, and metal. The attack began. In cities, people screamed and ran. Aliens walked through streets with laser rifles. Tanks rolled in. Drones flew overhead. Buildings were destroyed. Humans fought back, but their weapons were too weak. One alien laughed. This is too easy. They captured humans and placed them in cages. Children cried. Soldiers were dragged away. The aliens didn't care. We will own this world, said the ground captain. But that night, something strange happened again. In a desert outpost built by the aliens, the air turned cold. No wind, no sound. The guards walked in circles. Everything seemed fine. Then one light blinked. Then another. Then all lights went out. Power failure, one alien said. No, another whispered. It's something else. A scream came from the east wall. Then another from the control room. Then silence. The soldiers rushed in, but the rooms were empty. Blood on the floor. Claw marks on the walls. One helmet still recording. The alien captain picked it up and played the video. Something moved in the darkness. Fast. Large. It climbed walls like a spider. It tore through armor like paper. It wasn't human. At the end of the video, the alien soldier screamed, "It sees us. It sees." Then the video cut off. Xerax watched the footage. His jaw tightened. "What are we fighting?" he asked. No one could answer. Later that day, a patrol team near the jungle found a strange symbol carved into a tree. A skull drawn in red. And under it, in English, was a warning. You came here. Now you can't leave. Panic spread among the alien troops. Some thought it was a human trick. Others were not sure. The jungle teams kept disappearing. The ones who returned were hurt, shaking, eyes full of fear. One soldier said, "They don't use guns. They don't make noise. They stalk us like animals. We shoot, but they're gone before we aim." Another whispered, "I saw one. It smiled." Xerax ordered all troops to return to base. He needed answers. The science team began to study Earth more deeply. What they found made things worse. "Commander," the science officer said, "Earth has many secrets. Hidden zones, no-fly areas. Human files speak of strange experiments. Project names like Predator Zero, Dark Ice, and Shadow Unit. They locked these places, buried them." "Why?" Xerax asked. "Because even humans feared what was inside." Xerax's eyes narrowed. "They created monsters." "Yes, Commander," the officer said. "And now, they are free." That night, another alien base was attacked. This one was fully armed, guards, towers, drones, and shields. But it didn't help. The attack was fast. A dark shape broke through the walls. Cameras showed flashes, teeth, claws, red eyes. The screams lasted 5 minutes. Then silence. One drone above the base recorded the end. A tall black creature walked into view. Two glowing red eyes, long arms. Its body changed shape as it moved, like smoke and shadow. It turned to the camera. Then, in perfect alien language, it said, "You should not have come here." Then it vanished. Hizirax watched the footage alone. He no longer smiled. He no longer called humans weak. This was not a simple invasion. This was a mistake. "We thought they were prey," he whispered. "But we are the prey now." Far below, deep in an old lab buried under a mountain, something else opened its eyes. Its cage had been broken weeks ago. Now it was awake. It smelled the air. It was not human, not alien. It was something worse. It moved through the tunnels, heading toward the surface. The real hunt was about to begin. The alien empire had sent its best. Soldiers, weapons, warships. But something was wrong on Earth. Their power didn't matter here. Aliens kept dying. Whole squads vanished. Camps were destroyed. Strange creatures hunted them at night. Fast, deadly, and silent. Commander Xerax stared at the map. It showed Earth, full of red marks. Every red dot was a lost unit. Too many. "This is not war," he said. "This is a slaughter." Inside the main ship, the science team worked without rest. They studied human computers, files, and old internet records. They searched for answers. Then they found something. An old human report. A secret file. Hidden deep. Project Predator 0. The file had photos. Black creatures, strange bones, broken cages, and words like, "Too dangerous to control. Not of this Earth. Buried forever. Never awaken." The scientists looked at each other in fear. "What is this?" one asked. "A weapon," said another. "No," the chief scientist said. "A warning." Xerax called his top officers. "These monsters," he said, "they are not human. But humans knew about them. Maybe even made them." "Why would humans make such things?" asked his second in command. "To fight their enemies," Xerax said. "Or to fight us." He paused. "Or maybe to fight something worse." To learn the truth, Xerax sent elite squads to old human places marked on the map. Deep jungles, frozen mountains, hidden islands. Each place had one thing in common. No human went near them anymore. The teams entered one site in Antarctica. It was an underground lab, sealed with metal and ice. Inside were empty cages, thick claw marks, and human skeletons. One alien said, "What happened here?" The answer came when they played a damaged human video file. It showed men in white coats, running, screaming. Behind them, something big, black, and fast. It tore through steel. It walked like a man, but moved like a beast. A voice in the video screamed, "Shut it down. Don't let it reach the surface." Then static. In another site, deep under the Amazon jungle, a second team entered a dark tunnel. Strange sounds echoed. Clicks, growls, whispers. They found old weapons, dried blood, and walls scratched with symbols. Then a message, written in English and Spanish. "We tried to kill it. We failed. We ran." Before the team could leave, the lights went out. One by one, their signals disappeared. Screams, gunfire, then silence. Xerax received only one message from the jungle site. A shaky video. The screen showed a narrow hallway, red lights blinking. Then a creature crawled into view. Tall, skin like armor, head full of sharp lines and spikes. It opened its mouth. Not to roar. To speak. Born in darkness. Made for war. "We remember everything." The screen went black. The aliens were no longer hunters. They were prey. Fear spread through the alien army. Some tried to desert. Others refused to leave the ships. Xerax gave a speech. "We are warriors. We do not fear shadows. Earth is a planet, not a god." but his hand shook when no one was looking. Back on Earth, in an old mountain bunker, Commander Drake stepped out into the light. A human, old, battle-scared, wearing a black uniform with a red skull. He looked up at the alien ships. "They woke the wrong beasts," he said. Behind him, deep inside the bunker, heavy doors opened. Soldiers stood beside cages, not to guard them, to release them. One soldier whispered, "Sir, are you sure?" Drake nodded. "We locked them up years ago. We said never again. But this isn't war. This is survival." He pressed the code. The lights turned red. Loud bangs echoed. The cages opened. From the darkness, figures stepped out, some like animals, some like men, all with glowing eyes. They didn't roar. They didn't growl. They smiled. Far away, a Zorak battleship picked up a signal. Not human. Not alien. Something in between. It repeated one phrase, over and over. "We are the forgotten. We remember the pain. And now, we hunt." Commander Xerax stood alone in the war room. The lights were dim. The map of Earth flickered in front of him. Red zones were spreading fast, not from human resistance, but from something else. He knew now. This was no longer an invasion. This was survival. He called his top officers. "We face something older than war, something we were not told about. This planet is not soft. It hides weapons, beasts, experiments." "What do we do, Commander?" one asked. "We adapt," Xerax said, "or we die." Far below, in a hidden mountain base, Commander Drake walked through the dark hallway. Behind him, strange beings moved silently. Their eyes glowed. Their bodies were scared from battles long forgotten. These were not humans. Not fully. They were part of Project Predator Zero. Made in labs. Designed to fight alien threats, locked away when they became too dangerous. Now, they were Earth's last hope. One of them stepped beside Drake. A tall female with silver eyes and claws like steel. "You said we'd never be used again," she said. Drake nodded. "I lied." That night, across the planet, they were released. The creatures moved fast. One team hit a Zorak base in Africa. The aliens saw them coming and opened fire, but nothing stopped them. The beasts ran through bullets and laser blasts like shadows. They tore through walls. They moved like ghosts. Within minutes, the base was destroyed. The aliens sent drones to chase them. The drones never returned. In New York City, a giant ship hovered above the skyline. It sent down soldiers in black armor. They walked the streets, capturing humans. Then, the rooftops began to move. From the shadows, figures leaped. One landed on a tank and crushed it with bare hands. Another jumped from a skyscraper, silent as wind, and landed on a squad. Screams filled the city. One alien commander shouted into his radio, "We're under attack. Not humans. Not aliens. What are they?" There was no answer. Back in orbit, Xerax watched all of this. He slammed his fist into the console. "These things, they are not even human. What did this planet create?" The science officer answered, "They're not all created, Commander. Some were found." "What do you mean?" "We think some of these creatures were already here, buried deep, sleeping, waiting." Waiting for what? To be awakened. In the Pacific Ocean, a giant alien drill was digging into the seafloor. The Zorak Empire wanted to build a base there, but something moved below. The drill team lost contact. Then the sea turned red. Something massive rose from the water, bigger than the ships, older than any record, covered in thick black scales, eyes like stars. It screamed, a sound so deep the water shook. One Zorak captain whispered, "What god have we awakened?" Then the creature sank beneath the waves again. Only silence remained. On land, the survivors of the Zorak army started whispering a new name. The Earthborn, not human, not alien, but defenders of this world. They didn't speak. They didn't show mercy. They killed anything that didn't belong. And they had only just begun. In the skies above, Xerax gave one last command. Prepare the Omega Bomb. If we can't control this world, we will burn it. But the Earthborn already knew. They were watching. They were listening. And now, they were coming for him. The sky over Earth grew darker as the alien warships gathered in the heavens. Their engines hummed with power, ready to unleash destruction. The Zorak Empire's plan was simple: destroy the planet before the Earthborn could stop them. At the command center, Commander Xerax paced back and forth. His fists clenched. His mind raced. The Earthborn had proven to be more than just a threat. They were the planet's true defenders. The alien empire's most powerful weapon, the Omega Bomb, was ready. It could burn entire cities, turn forests to ash, and wipe out all life in seconds. Xerax stood still, staring at the screens. Activate the bomb. Prepare for final deployment. But the officer beside him hesitated. Commander, we've lost so many ships, so many soldiers. Are you sure this is the only way? Xerax's eyes darkened. It's too late to turn back. We either destroy this world now, or we are all dead. Far below, in the heart of the Amazon jungle, the Earthborn gathered. They were not just beasts. They were survivors. They were warriors. They had been born for this moment. Commander Drake stood with them, watching the Zorak ships above. He knew the aliens would stop at nothing to win. But the Earthborn had a power that the Zorak could never understand. They knew this world better than any invader ever could. They won't just destroy Earth, Drake said. They'll burn it. They'll make sure nothing is left. A voice, low and steady, came from the shadows. We will stop them. It was one of the Earthborn. Its eyes glowed with silent fury. How? Drake asked. The creature stepped forward, revealing its scared body, its sharp teeth, and its glowing eyes. We have lived through worse. The others nodded. They moved like shadows, their bodies sleek, silent, and deadly. Meanwhile, in space, the Omega Bomb was being prepared. A Zorak officer stood near the control panel, his hands trembling. It's ready, Commander. We can end this now. Xerax turned away. Do it. The officer pushed the button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, without warning, the Omega Bomb began to glow. The countdown began. But deep in the Amazon, something stirred. The Earthborn had sensed the bomb's power. They had felt it coming, and they were ready. The ground shook as they moved. Trees splintered, and the earth cracked open. The Zorak ships above never saw them coming. One by one, the Earthborn leaped into the sky. Their bodies soared like arrows, faster than any alien weapon. They landed on the Zorak ships with a thunderous crash. The aliens barely had time to react. One Earthborn grabbed a Zorak soldier and crushed his helmet with one swipe. Another tore through the ship's metal hull with its claws. The ships began to explode, one after another, as the Earthborn tore into them. Xerax stared in horror from his ship. What are they? They are the hunters, the officer replied. We are the prey. The Zorak commander had seen the impossible. The Earthborn were not just warriors. They were predators. And the Zorak had awakened them from their sleep. Back on Earth, Commander Drake and the Earthborn gathered in the jungle. The sky was lit up by explosions as the ships fell from above. The Zorak were losing. It's over, Drake said. They'll never recover from this. One of the Earthborn tilted its head, its glowing eyes locked onto Drake. They still have the bomb. Drake's eyes widened. You're right. We have to stop it before it launches. In space, the Omega Bomb was nearly ready for launch. Its power surged, its core heating up. The countdown was almost complete. Commander, the officer said, The Earthborn are destroying our ships. We can't stop them. The bomb. It's all we have left. Xerax gritted his teeth. Then we take Earth down with us. Back on Earth, Commander Drake led a small team of Earthborn toward the alien ship's main control center. The jungle was quiet now, the battle above subsiding. But time was running out. They reached the ship's entrance, and Drake turned to the Earthborn. "Get inside. We have one shot." The Earthborn nodded, and with a roar, they charge. Inside the ship, chaos had already begun. Alien soldiers ran to defend their control rooms, but the Earthborn tore through them like fire through dry grass. They reached the Omega bomb control panel in minutes. Drake and his team rushed inside. He saw the bomb's countdown. Only 1 minute left. "We don't have much time," he shouted. One Earthborn stepped forward, its claws ready. It reached out to disable the bomb. But then, the voice of Xerax echoed through the ship. "You cannot stop us. The Zorak Empire will burn this planet to the ground." Drake looked at the Earthborn. "We will not let that happen." With a single strike, the Earthborn slashed the control panel. Sparks flew. The countdown stopped. The war was over, but the battle for Earth had just begun. The silence of Earth was deafening. The Zorak ships had fallen. The Omega bomb had been stopped, but the war was far from over. The alien army was not defeated, only weakened. The Earthborn had struck hard, but Xerax was not one to give up. He had lost ships, soldiers, and his pride. But he still had power, still had a plan. Back in the jungle, Commander Drake stood with the Earthborn. They had won a battle, but not the war. The ground was covered with the bodies of fallen soldiers and destroyed ships. The jungle smelled like burning metal. "We can't stop now," Drake said. "The Zorak are still here. They'll rebuild. We need to finish this." One of the Earthborn stepped forward. Its eyes glowed with quiet determination. "We are ready." Drake nodded. "Then we fight." In space, Xerax watched the remnants of his fleet. His ships were scattered, but they were still functional. He was not done. He would not surrender. He would strike back. "The Earthborn are powerful," he muttered, "but they have weaknesses." Xerax turned to his officers. "Prepare the final weapon. The vortex cannon. This will end it all." The officers nodded. They knew what was coming. The vortex cannon was the deadliest weapon in the Zorak arsenal. It could tear planets apart with a single shot, and Xerax was ready to use it. Down on Earth, the battle was already moving towards its climax. The Earthborn had gathered, and now they were planning their final strike. Drake stood with them, watching the skies. The Zorak ships were regrouping, getting ready for one last attempt to take Earth. "They think they can win with their big weapon," Drake said, his voice cold. "But they don't know Earth. They don't know what we have here." A heavy roar echoed through the jungle as the Earthborn gathered around him. "We are ready." In space, the Zorak fleet prepared for their final attack. Xerax stood in his command chair, his eyes narrowed. He had the vortex cannon ready to fire. "It's time," Xerax said. "Prepare to fire." His officer hesitated. "But, Commander, the Earthborn are still down there. If we fire, we could destroy everything." Xerax's eyes flashed with anger. "If we don't fire, we lose. Fire the weapon." The officer nodded. The cannon's massive barrel began to glow. Energy built up inside, and the air crackled with power. The cannon fired. On Earth, the ground shook. Drake looked up. His eyes went wide. A bright beam shot from the sky. It was a blinding light, a storm of destruction aimed right at the Earth's surface. "We have to stop it." Drake shouted, "Move." The Earthborn ran. Their claws tore through the Earth. They raced toward the Zorak ship, knowing that if they didn't stop the vortex cannon, Earth would be destroyed. They had one chance. The beam from the cannon hit the atmosphere. The sky exploded with light, but the Earthborn were faster. They reached the Zorak ship in time. One of them jumped, leaping onto the cannon's barrel. It slashed with its claws, tearing through the metal. Sparks flew as the weapon started to break down. Drake followed, leading a group of Earthborn toward the heart of the ship. They reached the core, the source of the cannon's power. They had to disable it, or everything would be lost. Inside the ship, Hexirax watched in horror as his weapon began to fail. "No, no," he shouted, smashing his fist against the console. The cannon's energy was unstable, and the Earthborn were destroying it from the inside. "They're too strong," Hexirax roared. "Activate the backup." But it was too late. The Earthborn reached the core, and with one final strike, they shut down the cannon's power. The sky began to calm. The beam of destruction stopped. The vortex cannon was disabled. On Earth, Drake looked up. The sky was clearing. The battle was over. Hexirax's fleet was falling apart. The Zorak soldiers were retreating. The Earthborn had won. Drake exhaled, a feeling of relief washing over him. "We did it." One of the Earthborn stood beside him. "Earth is safe, for now." Drake nodded. "We fought together, and we will fight again if we have to." In space, Hexirax looked out at the wreckage of his fleet. His eyes were full of fury, but there was also something else. Fear. The Earthborn had proven that no weapon, no army, could defeat the defenders of Earth. Hexirax clenched his fist. "This isn't over, not by a long shot." He turned away from the shattered remains of his ships. "We will return, and when we do, we will finish this." But for now, Earth was safe, and the Earthborn had earned their place as its guardians. The end.